If you are thinking about becoming a coach or adding coaching to your management and leader skill set, I would ask you to first take this quick assessment. Use it like a gut check. It's a set of strong considerations that will assist you when deciding if this is the right time and the right place to invest your time, money, and energy. Are you ready for coach training at Soul Salt Academy? Well, let's see how you answer the following questions. Let me state that these questions are not in any sequence of importance. They are equally weighted, and with that said, let's start with the first question. Do you have a well-behaved ego? Now, what do I mean by this? Well, let's put it into two nutshells. Nutshell number one. Ego is the part of us that thinks, feels, and wills separate self in such a manner as to set self apart from others. It is your inner working that can become reactive or responsive to the outside world. It's a part of us that if we are to coach well, it must become balanced so that self-importance is in appropriate perspective with other importance, meaning the other person's importance. And it is a must that it knows its place in terms of who is the central reference point when coaching. The person being coached is a central reference point. Nutshell number two. You will want to engage in a wholehearted practice of mindfulness, being fully present with all activities and thoughts that go on in a session so that you can attend to the coaching agenda and not your own. This will require that you become completely comfortable with being the wind, not the wings, that soar and fly to the greatest heights in what is accomplished during a coaching engagement. You will be the unsung variable in an equation that makes the client or person being coached look good in the end. So this question again, do you have a well-behaved ego? The next question is, how empathic are you? And how willing are you to learn to be even more empathic? Empathy is the ability that builds on our own emotional self-awareness, our own groundedness, and it is indeed the kingpin of all people skills, the one that kindles a regard in others and helps build their capacity of having a healthy, self-fulfilling understanding of what's going on inside their experiences. If you are to be a good coach, empathy will require of you that you gain attunement. Attunement is not imitating someone else like a mirror. It's not saying, you sound angry. Instead, it indicates that you have enough emotional development to sense what the inner experience of the other person is. Instead, you might say something like, wow, I would be angry if I were you. It seems like this other person has little regard for your ideas. Empathy is our capacity to get into another person's shoes. If you are a coach, it would never sound self-referenced, and it would never sound like this. I know exactly how you feel. Your empathy must be so well developed that it not only helps the person you're coaching feel heard, they also feel understood. And they get to be the authority when those two things happen. And when they do, you are empathic. Empathy is our ability as a coach to instill hope within those we are coaching. It is a requirement in order to build a strong and healthy relationship. And if we cannot build a relationship with the other person, we cannot coach them. So the question is, are you empathic? And are you willing to learn how to be even more empathic? Next question. When you look at people in general, what do you see? Are you prone to see scenario A? You see the average person disliking their work and wanting to avoid it if they can. And you believe that people need to be forced. They need to be punished if they don't get their work accomplished. You see people that prefer to be directed want to avoid responsibility and are relatively unambitious, and they need someone to guide them. So do you see people through McGregor's theory X? Or do you see people through scenario B, McGregor's theory Y? Do you see people who have an effort to work that is as natural as their effort to play? Do you see that people want to apply self-control and self-direction in the pursuit of meeting objectives? Do you see people who are committed to objectives, and that functions as the reward associated with the achievement? Do you see people willing to accept and seek out responsibility? Do you see people with high degrees of imagination, ingenuity, and creativity? Which are you? Do you see people according to scenario A, theory X, or scenario B, theory Y? Can you see them according to theory Y? Next question. Are you masterful at asking questions? Can you stay comfortable and quiet in the silence that is often evoked by a powerful question? Do you know when a question lands sound and true for the other person? Can you be masterful at asking questions? Next, do you have a means, your own system for getting your own needs met? Do you have stability and sanity in your own life to a degree that you can hold the space for another person without your own chaos interrupting? Next question. Are you interested in, even passionate about change? Are you willing to step into a profession that requires dialogue, the type that will transform not just the person being coached, but you as the coach? Are you interested in change? Because your life will shift if you become a coach. And the final question, are you willing to push yourself? Can you accept challenges to do things you haven't been able to do before? Will you be willing to be afraid, to be scared and still move forward toward your goal? If you can't do this, how will you throw down a challenge at the feet of your coachee? Are you willing to face off with and beat your most challenging scenarios? Well, the assessment is fairly complete now. The big question left is, how many yeses did you have? If you found yourself answering yes, the affirmative, and you're willing to step forward, and these questions resonated with you, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about helping you become a coach or using the coaching skills as part of your management and leadership toolkit.